All right, YouTube. So we're back here, back at the scrap factory. This is actually going to be a welding video, but it is very scrap metal related. So what we're doing here today is we got this log splitter here. It's originally designed to split logs for firewood. We're not going to use it for that. No, this is actually going to be a an electric motor wrecking machine. Pretty much this is going to be on the third and final stage. It's going to be used to pull the copper out of the stator. If you've seen some of my other videos, I do a lot of sealed units and electric motors. Normally when I pull them, I slap a vise on my tailgate. It's not even bolted down. I use a pair of fencing pliers to pull the copper out. Well, it's really slow, inefficient, and it's extremely hard on your body. So we got a machine to do that for us now. If you buy this stock, it's not going to pull copper. It might look like it would wreck the motors, but this blade is probably not sharp enough. So what we're going to be doing to this is pretty much put in a clamping holding device on this end, and then a chain is going to get mounted here, run into a pair of fencing pliers. It's kind of hard to explain, but you'll see how we make it. And it's going to pull the copper right out. If you are on the YouTube, which you probably are, otherwise I don't know how else you're watching this video, besides maybe a forum I might post it to. Go on the YouTube and check out Flippin' Irish. He made a pretty light duty machine to do the same thing I'm trying to do. It's not heavy duty enough for what I would be doing with it. Maybe for him it is, but I'm pretty rough on things, and I wanted something more heavy duty like this industrial log splitter type thing here. So yeah, I do like his holding device though. It is really simple. So I'm gonna steal his idea for that. There's some other guy, I forget what his name is, but he has some HVAC business or something in North Carolina, where he had some really ghetto copper puller. It was a hydraulic cylinder with some tile nippers chained to it. So we're gonna combine a few different ideas here and make our own. So I'll get back to you once I start getting things moving along here. All right, YouTube. Sorry about the noise. We got the generator running. That's the only way I can see in here. It's getting kind of overcast today. But we got our log splitter prepared. I had to go ahead and grind the powder coat off this thing. We got all our steel cut out and ready to go. We got holes drilled. This piece here is going to sit like that, and that's how we're going to mount our chain. We're going to throw a shackle through that. That's going to get, there's going to be a chain on there. Then I'm going to weld some fencing pliers to that chain. We got our angle iron and our square tube. This is all cut-offs I had from some welding jobs I was doing, so I didn't pay nothing for this. If you did have to pay for this, I think this would probably be about $20 worth of steel. Yeah, we're gonna fire up our Fronius trans steel here and put this thing together real quick. Yeah, I'll come back with you here once I get this thing going. Alright, so we got everything tacked on here. Before we go and weld it out, I do want to get a unit here and make sure everything fits. We do have to drill this hole out slightly bigger. That's not a problem. These are the things we're going to be welded into our chain. They seem to work pretty good when I was doing these by hand, so we're going to see how well they work mechanically. I was going to bolt these uprights onto this so I could still use this thing as a log splitter, but I'm not very good at drilling things, so I didn't think I was going to be able to get plates that actually aligned right doing it myself. So I just decided to weld it, and yeah, it's not going to be used for splitting logs unless I decide to cut this off and then get some plates put on it, which I could if I want, but I don't really do much with firewood anyway. So this is pretty much just going to be a dedicated setup. How it's going to work is I may need to get a piece of channel and put it down here, but this whatever may work anyway. I'm not really sure. We're going to test it out. But anyway, these will get chained to the splitter part. This is going to get bolted somewhere to that, and it's just going to drop down on the units, and it should clamp them in if we get it set up right. And yeah, we'll get this fitted up, and then when I'm ready to weld it, I'll get some video of that. Alright, so this is all tacked together here. We got everything kind of where I wanted, I guess. We still got some room back here, so if we get some bigger units, we'll still be good. Yeah. I guess the only thing left to do is to fire it up and make sure, you know, there's enough room for this to pull the copper out, you know. Yeah, guess we'll get going here and see if it works. Everything's tacked together right now, so I'm not going to pull too hard if it starts to fight me. But I just want to make sure it works, or it's set up right before I weld it together. don't know if you all could see that, but it did get one thing of copper out, even just stacked together. So I'm gonna go put some more tops on it, and then we're gonna maybe shorten up this chain a little bit, and maybe figure out something to do with this thing here a little bit more. And then we're going to pull on it a bit harder, see what happens. Alright YouTube, so I went ahead and got, it's not like finished, but I got more of the welds done, so that way I won't be afraid of breaking nothing. We're going to see how this thing works. So, well, I'm gonna pull this down first. All right, so it is not without its downfalls and learning experiences, but I pulled that right out of there. I did figure out that you got to keep this thing, the pullers, closer to the top, otherwise it rips it out at an angle. But it did it. So we're gonna try and run some more of these things here and make sure it's good to go before I weld these fencing pliers in there even more. I might need to take out a link or two, but did it. All right, YouTube, so I ran another one of them same motors through this thing. Got some more copper out of it. It actually did pretty well. But I'm actually really excited that this thing works. It's probably not as good as some of them Chinese like industrial motor pullers, but it's at least 1/10 of the cost. This whole setup here cost me roughly $1,000 to get going. The copper I got out of there was maybe about like $10 maybe. Plus the steel weighs a little bit. You know, you're not gonna get rich off of one unit. If you're building this setup to run maybe like 3 or 4 motors a year, yeah, if you're running like 3 motors or something a year, this thing is not worth it. The reason why I made this is so that I can run thousands of pounds a day. So, you know, there's things I want to do differently here in the future, like this hand lever. Eventually, it would be really nice to have a foot pedal, a foot control on this thing. But for right now, we're going to use the hand lever until we get going. Yeah, this vise that I made in the back here, eventually, I would kind of like some sort of different setup. And I might have to put tile nippers on instead of these fencing pliers to run electric motors. The sealed units generally pull pretty easy, but I'm not really sure. These were electric motors out of a sewing machine. Some Amish guy pulled them off and threw a motor like this onto the sewing machine, because that's just what they do. So yeah, those would have been pretty hard to pull apart by hand. It probably would have taken me at least a half hour on each motor, just because of how tough they were to pull. And this thing did it in minutes. I'd like to get that down to seconds, but that was literally the first time I've ever ran anything through this. So we're going to come over here, and I'm gonna lose money on this unit by doing this. I'm fairly sure it's aluminum. It could be copper, I don't know. I'm just guessing based off of what I pulled this off of. It's probably aluminum. I'm gonna open it up with a grinder just because I don't feel like getting my plasma cutter out for one unit. Yeah, so I'm gonna get the grinder out. I'm gonna lose money on this, but I don't really care. It's only like $1 or $2. I'm just trying to make sure this works before I go and buy a whole bunch of these. So we're gonna cut this apart. I'm trying to confirm if there's like more, if I could sell things for more dirty aluminum than I could steel. So I'm gonna figure that out as well. And then we're gonna take the stator over here and get this thing fired up and see if it'll pull the little tiny ones out. Now these little tiny ones, sometimes I don't even need a vise to get the copper out by hand, but I just want to see if it'll do it. So yeah, we're gonna get this thing fired up here. his videos. I would like to point out that it is in fact copper clad steel. When you hit this, you see them sparks? That's steel, not copper. If you think this is copper, check again. That is how much oil you have in these small units. Yeah. so this is all aluminum in here. The aluminum ones are generally really difficult to pull apart by hand. But we're gonna go ahead and see if this thing will get them apart. So we're gonna get rid of this right now. Get rid of this one. Just to lock that in there like so. Then we'll fire this thing up and see how she does. Alright, so now that all the engines are off, you can probably hear me a bit better. Alright, so this is the sealed unit that we tore apart here. Yeah, just to recap, I don't know, I was trying to explain it on the camera with everything running. I don't know if you could hear me, but the scrap farm, this is more a video for you. And the people who watched Scrap Farm when he tore apart his sealed units. So when this thing is in here like that, you have this big coppery looking pipe sticking out of it. It looks like it's copper. It really does. But it's probably just a copper coating. If you hit it with the grinder, it will spark. Meaning it is steel. So if you're throwing this in with your copper, you shouldn't be. It's not copper, it's steel. The reason why I was messing around with the grinder so much on this part is I was trying to see how much aluminum is actually in it. It looks like the piston there is aluminum. The little doohickey that's covering the piston is aluminum, and the this big thing here is actually all aluminum except for there's a steel or stainless steel, I don't know. There's a coating, a band or something around it, but that is an aluminum armature thing. The rest of it is cast iron. So I don't know if yards will accept this as dirty aluminum or not, but that's how much dirty aluminum is in this particular unit. Now moving on, again, this is our sealed unit. It's pretty small. It's filled up with oil, so we're gonna dump that into our oil when we change the truck's oil, or if we get an oil bucket. But yeah, so not much to it. And then this is aluminum. Generally, like I said, the aluminum windings pull a lot harder than the copper. I don't know why, but they do. But that machine just ripped it right out of there, like it was not even there. So I'm really pleased with how this thing turned out. Again, if you're cutting open these things with the grinder, you will lose money. All right, do not do that. Losing money. The only reason I did it is because my plasma cutter is kind of put up right now. I ain't really trying to dig everything out to set up and run one unit, which I already know is aluminum. If you watched one of my other videos, I actually tore this out of a water cooler, so check that video out. Yeah, And yeah, here's another look at our log splitter here. It's pretty simple. I wasn't sure how well this was gonna work. Again, there are some drawbacks to this. There's definitely some things I would improve in the future, but right now it will get things going. Yeah, so pretty much what I did is I took some 2.5-inch square tube. I welded it right there. It's not like the best welds. I mean, I didn't even bother to weld in here. It'll probably hold up until I start pulling on some bigger stuff. I had originally planned to bolt this piece together right here so you could just unbolt it and you would have yourselves a log splitter again. I didn't feel like doing that, so it's completely welded. I mean, I could easily knock these things off here and split some smaller wood with these things still on it, if I wanted to. But it's designed to pull copper. This thing is, I believe it's a 4-inch, 1/4-inch thick piece of angle. Yeah, it's pretty simple. It just bolts here, bolts to that square tube, and that's your pivot. You just pick it up, slide in your stator, and drop it down on the copper or the aluminum, whatever you got going on, and it pulls it, or it rests in there on the bottom. I had to double stack some 1/2-inch square bar, also cut offs from the projects that I use these on. This is from another project. And then I have this 1/4-inch, I think it's 4-inch flat bar. I used that to make some handrail jigs. Ran out of MIG wire, and there's like 2 of these that I didn't put on my handrail jigs, but I don't really need them, so I put one of them on here. Not the most neat looking thing in the world, not the most useful, but it works for what I need it for. It's just a shackle with, I believe it's 2 foot of chain. I actually got more chain than I needed, but I didn't know how long I was gonna really need it. So yeah, you saw me pull them 2 motors out with just some tack welds on this. I'm gonna leave them as just tack welds for now, because it seems to be working, and I kind of want to change them up to maybe a pair of tile nippers. But for right now, it seems to work. Yeah, if you want to build yourselves one of these, maybe start pulling some copper, I would say go ahead. This is a combination of a few different people I saw on YouTube and their ideas. I took the best ideas I found and put them all together into one unit. So yeah, like I said, not the best machine in the world, not the most productive, but it will get you going a lot quicker than doing it by hand, and a lot easier. So, and if you were to bolt it there, you still have yourselves a log splitter. So pretty cool idea, man. I'm gonna go buy a whole bunch of these things here shortly, and we're gonna we're gonna start up a sealed unit line. So this is the first piece of our production facility. Our next piece is going to be a rotary table that we're gonna make powered by one of these things. I'm gonna make that with some Amish guys, so you're probably not gonna see the build video to that, but you'll see the final product once we get it put together and in production. So yeah, man, if you guys want to see more of this here in the future, we're gonna be running a crap ton of sealed units. This is probably turned into a lengthy video, but there's a lot of information. I had been planning this thing in my head for years, like years, and it finally came together today, so I'm excited. Yeah, we're gonna buy a couple thousand pounds of sealed units and put this thing to the test. So, see ya.